Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear viewers and listeners, Assalamu alaikum. In this monologue, I am going to discuss and explain the grave punishment that will be inflicted upon the professional priests belonging to all religions, whether Islam, Judaism, Christianity, or any other faith. The audience may wonder why a professional priest may be punished when he or she is spreading religion amongst mankind. The answer to this question lies in the fact that a professional priest is a person who does not preach or spread the truth. Rather, he spreads falsehood for worldly gains, monetary and non-monetary. There are numerous verses in the glorious Koran that highlights this aspect of priesthood and condemn it in the strictest manner. Let's explore why the professional priest will be punished gravely on the judgment day in the light of wisdom provided by the glorious Quran, also called Kitabul Furqan, the only extant and impeccable scripture authored by the merciful Lord Allah. The first question that may come into the mind is, who is a professional priest? A professional priest is any person who assumes the role of a priest or religious leader for worldly gains. Examples of worldly gains may include accumulation of wealth, uplift in social status of the priest, and enjoying a clout of followers of his own brand. If we analyze this situation, any prudent person will appreciate that majority of the priest class members in the world belong to this category, whether a Muslim priest or a non-Muslim priest. Both indulge in spreading their own brand of religion or belief to develop a niche market of his followers. To obtain this objective, the priest and his cohorts develop and distribute man-made literature to spread falsehood amongst their followers. These followers are then persuaded that their brand of faith or faction is the only true brand and their priest is the redeemer of their sins in some manner. Once this cult is developed, then the priest starts asking for worldly favors from his followers for their salvation in both the worlds. The worldly favors may include many forms, such as 1. Asking his followers to give donations to the priest or his religious organization if they want to obtain salvation on the judgment day. These donations may include regular periodic contributions or contributions made on specific occasions such as any religious day or cult's day like priest's birthday. Bearing expenses of priest's traveling, lodging and food once he undertakes a journey and so on. 2. Asking his followers to blindly follow his ideology if they want to obtain salvation on the judgment day. Anyone who questions the wisdom behind the practice of the cult is immediately declared a pariah and banished as a heretic from the group. 3. Insisting that the ideology propagated by the priest is the only true ideology to obtain salvation in both worlds. 4. Spreading man-made literature and propaganda amongst the followers to promote priest's specific cult. In many cases, the foolish followers are either barred to read Quran or they are told to read translation and commentary of Quran spread by this specific cult. This list is not exhaustive, and any prudent person would agree that every priest focuses on one core message, and this is the message that his brand or faction is the only true faction that would go into the heavens, and the role of priest is crucial in the salvation of his followers. However, the glorious Quran openly refutes claims of all such false priests and their followers in the following words. Chapter 3, verse 105 of Quran reads, "Do not be like those who, after they have been given clear revelation, split into factions and fall into disputes. A terrible punishment awaits such people." This verse clearly warns that anyone who split into factions after receiving the knowledge of revealed Quran will meet a terrible punishment on the judgment day. The earlier nations, Jews and Christians, also fell into factions and met the terrible fate. So do the Muslims will face this terrible fate if they leave Quran and start following the cult of their priest or religious leader. In the sight of Allah, the only true religion is Islam, that was followed by all prophets from Adam to Muhammad, peace be upon them. This religion was revealed to various prophets and it was culminated and matured with the revelation of Quran. Chapter 3 verse 85 of Quran confirms this fact in the following words: "And whoever seeks a religion other than Islam, it will never be accepted of him, and in the hereafter he will be one of the losers." This verse makes it clear that Islam, as revealed through the glorious Quran, is the only religion that is acceptable in the sight of Allah. If anyone deviates from Islam to form his own cult, that would never be accepted from him, and he and his followers will be losers on the judgment day. From the discussion so far, it is evident that a professional priest is a person who exploits his followers for worldly gains. His core objective is to lead a comfortable life by creating his own brand of cult. He is never interested in spreading the words of Allah as contained in the glorious Quran. Even when he refers to any verse of Quran, he quotes it out of context or in a dubious manner to support his false cult. This fact is beautifully explained in the glorious Quran in the following verse. Chapter 9 verse 34 reads, "O you who have believed, indeed many of the scholars and the monks devour the wealth of people unjustly and avert them from the way of God. And those who hoard gold and silver and spend it not in the way of God, give them tidings of a painful punishment." This verse highlights the fact that theologians, whether scholars, monks, or priests, have been plundering the wealth of their followers in the name of religion. They accumulate gold and silver to enjoy a comfortable life. However, in the hereafter, they will meet a painful punishment by throwing into the crusher in the hellfire. Every prudent person would agree that the priest class has indulged in this sinful act of wealth accumulation from time immemorial. The 21st century and advancement in technology has given an impetus to the wealth accumulation process by such false priests. Their cult, with all its false beliefs, is spread far and wide through social media to increase the number of their blind followers. Then local organizations arrange their foreign trips, where most of them travel and live in an extravagant manner and spread their false ideologies with impunity. In most of such gatherings, their man-made literature is spread to cheat ignorant people who do not find time to read the glorious Quran. This literature contains beliefs that are either implicitly or explicitly condemned and refuted by the glorious Quran. Such a literature, in fact, does not relate to Islamic faith as envisaged in the glorious Quran. Rather, it is a manifestation of core beliefs of that specific cult or brand. In this manner, the professional priest keeps on increasing the number of his blind followers who never question priest's false arguments in the light of relevant verses of the glorious Quran. A professional priest is like the Satan who disobeys Allah's revelations and persuades his followers to follow his footsteps. The glorious Quran explicitly highlights the fact that in historical terms the followers of the priest class have always blindly taken their priests as lords besides Allah. This is the worst sin of polytheism that is unpardonable in the sight of Allah. Most of us know a priest is revered as a redeemer for the sins of his followers, an intercessor between man and Allah by the blind and ignorant followers. This practice is common amongst the followers of every religion from time immemorial. This attitude and behavior of the followers is strongly condemned by the glorious Quran in the following words. Referring to Christians, chapter 9 verse 31 of Quran reads, "They have taken their scholars and monks as lords besides God, and also the Messiah, the son of Mary." On another occasion, chapter 3 verse 80 of Quran reads, "Nor would he command you to take the angels and the prophets as lords, Would he command you to infidelity after you have submitted? These two verses make many important points about the path of treating a human being as Lord besides Allah. 1. Scholars, monks, and mystics plead that we are the intercessors between ordinary man and Allah through the Prophet. 2. The Prophet is declared as the intercessor between the priest and Allah. In this false philosophy, the ignorant followers are told to stick to their cult if they want salvation on the Judgment Day. They are told that all followers will obtain salvation on the Judgment Day, irrespective of their degree of sins, because they will have their priest and his priest as the intercessor on the Judgment Day. Therefore, anyone who seeks salvation on the Judgment Day must revere his priest and prophet as lords in some way akin to Allah. 4. However, the glorious Quran warns that no soul will be able to do anything for another soul on the Judgment Day. For example, chapter 82, verse 19 of Quran reads, "The day when no soul will be able to do anything for another. On that day, command will belong to God." This verse is an eye-opener for all those persons who believe that the professional priest can redeem their sins in any manner on the Judgment Day. Another crucial question may be what the fate of professional priests would be who have been spreading false ideologies based on man-made literature. The answer to this question is provided in chapter 16, verse 25 of Quran in the following words. On the day of resurrection, they will bear the full weight of their own burden, as well as some of the burden of those they misled with no true knowledge. How terrible their burden will be. This verse is an eye-opener for the priest class or any other person who misleads others about the faith of Islam without true knowledge. This true knowledge is only available in the glorious Quran, that is the most exalted scripture authored by the merciful Creator. This verse clearly explains that anyone who misleads other persons to commit a sin, whether in belief or in action, without true knowledge, as it is explained in the glorious Quran, will bear a terrible burden. This terrible burden will arise due to two complementary sins. 1. The sin of believing in a false idea or action that is not supported by the glorious Quran. 2. The sin of spreading that false idea or action to other persons. If you look at the nature of this sin, you would immediately appreciate that it is the sin that was committed by the Satan. The Satan first disobeyed commands of Allah, and then he started spreading his disobedience to the foolish mankind. In the same manner, a professional priest or spiritual leader first disobeys Allah by relying on man-made stories and assumptions while ignoring teaching of the glorious Quran, and then he starts spreading those false beliefs to his followers for worldly gains. On another occasion, the glorious Quran further confirms the terrible punishment that will be inflicted upon the professional priests on the Judgment Day. Chapter 16, verse 88 reads, "Because of the corruption they spread, we shall add torment upon torment for those who disbelieved and barred others from the path of God." This verse confirms that the professional priests and their followers who spread corruption and disbelief and stop others from the path of God in any manner will face a never-ending torment on the Judgment Day. What a terrible fate for all such professional priests. May Allah protect us from such priests and their cunnings. Ameen. Finally, it may be questioned by someone that what if the follower in good faith followed a professional priest? Would he also get punished on the Judgment Day as a member of the team of that priest? The answer to this question is provided in chapter 17, verse 36 in the following words. "Do not follow blindly what you do not know to be true. Ears, eyes, and heart, you will be questioned about all these." This verse makes it clear that blind following is never permitted by the glorious Quran. It will not be an excuse that somebody followed the priest in ignorance. Every person is commanded to confirm what he or she is doing, for every part of body will be questioned on the Judgment Day. Therefore, the best way to avoid cunnings and traps of professional priests is to strictly follow the glorious Quran, also called Kitabul Furqan by the merciful Creator. Furqan means a touchstone to distinguish right from wrong. Anything that conflicts with the wisdom provided by the glorious Quran should be shunned, even if it is spread by a professional priest. Now I sum up the key points discussed in this monologue for reinforcement purpose. 1. A professional priest is any person who spreads his own version of faith based on man-made literature or a combination of scripture and man-made literature. 2. The objective of a professional priest is to earn his livelihood by spreading false and intriguing ideologies amongst his followers. As the number of his followers grows, so does grow his wealth and clout. This is because the professional priest always works for money, implicitly or explicitly. 3. A professional priest is like a Satan who first disobeys the merciful Creator and then cunningly persuades his followers to disobey Allah by ignoring the path of the glorious Quran. 4. A professional priest will meet a terrible fate on the judgment day, when the wealth accumulated by him will be melted and stamped on his body. His torment will keep on increasing because he misguided others from the path of Allah as it is ordained in the glorious Quran. 5. The followers of a professional priest will also meet a tragic fate because they did not apply reason and ignored the commands of the glorious Quran. 6. Professional priests have always plagued the societies from times immemorial. These parasites were present in all faiths. 7. In the 21st century, the social media has become a powerful tool in the hands of professional priests and their followers who misguide ignorant mankind with impunity by spreading false literature of their specific cult. 8. The only way to escape dreadful influence of the professional priest is to read the glorious Quran in one's choice of language and then try to act on teachings of Quran. This is the only true path towards salvation and the straightest path towards Allah. I conclude my monologue on the subject of punishment for the professional priest with a prayer that Allah Almighty may bless this effort and may incline the listeners of this monologue towards reading and understanding the glorious Quran in the language of their choice, so that they may lead their lives as true believers in one God and should never be misguided by any professional priest or clergy. Ameen. Please do subscribe and share my channel for updates. It's free.